Hello everyone. It is a great pleasure to be presenting at the 4th International Clinical Engineering and Health Technology Management Congress. I'm going to present a talk on running an MRI system in a low and middle income country. My name is Forjaz Secca. I'm a clinical engineer and medical physicist at the Central Hospital of Maputo. And my colleague is Abubakar Sumalji, who's a biomedical engineer working at the Ministry of Health in Mozambique. MRI is an important diagnostic imaging technique capable of saving lives and improving health quality worldwide. The technique has been held as so important that it deserved to be attributed the Nobel Prize in Medicine and Physiology in 2003. It's the second time that an imaging technique got a Nobel Prize. The first one had been awarded to the discovery of the CT scan. We believe that low and middle income countries, due to this importance, should also have access to these systems, even if in smaller numbers and at selected facilities due to its high price and high technological level equipment. Several problems arise in the running of MRI systems in low and middle income countries. These problems should be tackled methodically and laboriously to be overcome and minimized in order to run these systems to their full potential and make the majority of people in the country profit from such a technique. I'm going to go through a list of several problems that have been encountered when running an MRI system in a low middle income country and propose some suggestions. The first problem is regular maintenance. The majority of manufacturers want to use their own trained personnel to preserve the guarantee and full running of the system. The problem is that in a country like Mozambique, there are 5 MRI systems. One is in a government hospital. The other is government but not fully public because it's a military hospital. It's only for the military personnel. And then there are 3 private systems. The problem is all these systems actually been manufactured by different manufacturers. So there is not enough critical mass within the country for the companies to have a fully trained personnel on call all the time within the country, which means that at the moment they have to ask their own trained personnel to come from abroad to do the full maintenance repair of the systems, which presents a problem, and it will take some time before we can overcome that. The other problem is this training of technologists. We do have a very good degree in radiology for technologists, but the training should involve hands-on training as well. And with only one public system easily available, which is the MRI at the Central Hospital, it is complicated to give enough time slots to train everyone and fit in with all the clinical work that has to be done at the same time. So even though the training exists, it's somewhat limited. The other problem is the training of radiologists. We have some of the specialists that have already been trained in MRI. There's 4 or 5 of them. And the new residents are being trained by the old specialists. But even with the older specialists, the experience they have in MRI is somewhat limited because the system hasn't existed in the country for that long, and the range of diseases and types of imaging they do are not that broad. So we still need a lot more time for this, because that's one thing that comes with training and time. The other problem we have is screening of patients. Having such few MRI systems and such a large population, a lot of the clinicians are thinking that MRI exams should be prescribed, which is very important. The problem is we do not have enough time slots to accommodate everyone. So the screening of who gets to to be examined first and who can be left outside and use other techniques is of extreme importance. And that is one thing that is at the moment is being tackled. We also have very few medical physicists. I work as a medical physicist in MRI at the Central Hospital in Maputo. There are no other MRI physicists in the country at the moment. And even though we'd only have 5 systems, those are very important. And we really need to train medical physicists to help with the systems. The other problem that we encounter is the regular update on working principles. That means that the system is complicated and we should have proper courses and updating courses on for all the technologists and radiologists and medical physicists on the new sequences, new principles, and new ideas that come in MRI. So this is a system that has to be constantly on the spot and constantly updated. And obviously we need people from the outside to come and train. The optimization of the sequences is another important issue because the system is complicated. There's lots of different physical principles, and in order to understand all the technology and improve it to get the best image for each sequence, it requires knowledge, it requires time, it requires practice and adjustment. And so lots of times they have people to come, the specialists from the different manufacturers come to train people, but this is an ongoing process, so that is a complication here. The quality maintenance is another problem. That means medical physicists should be able to do that, hence we need more medical physicists and clinical engineers or biomedical engineers for that matter. And biomedical engineers and clinical engineers are extremely important in this issue, to actually keep on a look at the equipment and see how it can be maintained and the quality of exams are up to scratch, and keep on and improve it. The other issue is image processing. Image processing is very important because a lot of the MRI exams are not just done on the spot. Once you take the images, you have to process them and get extra information like 3D reconstruction, or if you do functional imaging or DTI or spectroscopy, there's a lot of post-processing, and that post-processing is complex and needs a lot of training. At the moment, we do not have enough people to do that, so we're concentrating basically on the basic sequences. The other problem is safety issues. A lot of people are trained in general and in the hospital been trained for problems with the ionizing radiation, but the problems with the high fields is somewhat different. You have to prevent people with the magnetic things equipment to get close to the system, to prevent everyone to get into the MRI room with the equipment that could either destroy the equipment or could be destroyed and could put lives at risk. So that's a new training which people are not used to, and even all the people in the personnel in the hospital, the cleaners and all that, have to be properly trained. So what the goals of the project is that we're trying to analyze all these problems we mentioned and see that some of them are actually particularly important but very difficult to handle in countries like Mozambique, where there's no previous MRI experience and people have to concentrate on learning new things, and there's very few fully qualified personnel, or almost no fully qualified personnel in several of these areas. So these problems were presented, analyzed, and one by one, and we gave some suggestions and proposed how to handle each of them in the best way possible to be adapted to the local conditions and resources. We believe MRI systems should run to full potential so that the majority of people in the country can have access to them, and if needed, and profit from them, from such a technique. So we should really give the proper importance to the MRI. This is my email if anyone wants to contact me. Thank you very much.